Welcome into the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I am Devin Albertson, joined by Sean Nino, Ryan Elliott, Max Moore today, as Trevor had to go up north to Iowa, so we bring in Max, the replacement and the improvement over Trevor.
Starting off early.
Well, he's not here, so we get to take a few shots at him early. He's not here. And also, we are bringing on Northwest Missourian sports editor Isaiah Swan. Swanee, how you doing today?
Hey,
how's it going?
up?
Can you not hear us over there?
I'm not on.
Okay, well, we can hear you. So 1 second, we'll bring you back in just a second.
I don't know what's going on.
It's all right.
So lost. I love it, but I don't think that's actually happening.
All right, so we'll get back to Isaiah here in a minute once Sean gets him to get his headset to work. But first, we're going to start with last week. It happened versus Central Missouri down in Arrowhead. We were all down for that game. Northwest came away with a 24-20 win after a late touchdown. And while we're trying to get Isaiah's stuff to work, it's perfect timing for us to kind of get our sound bites in for this week. So we'll go with the first one was in the first quarter with 7:44 to go. Jacob Gassman with his pick six. Givers to the right. Bowles back to pass. Gets a little clean pocket across the middle. It's going to be intercepted. Going back the other way is Northwest. It's going to be a pick six. Kind of a mess there, but it looks like Jacob Gassman with the interception. The 5'11", 198 sophomore jumped the route, ripped it away from the wide receiver, and he was gone for the 30-yard pick six. And then after that, we'll go later in the game for the touchdown for Central Missouri to put them up by 3 with 34 seconds to go. As it's going to be second down and goal from the 4-yard line, 38 seconds to go. Northwest up by 4. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Bowles in the pistol. 4-man line for Northwest. Moves running back to his right. Bowles back to pass. Looking for the end zone. It's going to be caught for a touchdown. It's touchdown. Central Missouri Singler in the end zone as he's going to catch the touchdown for Central Missouri. Puts them up 19-17 with 34 seconds to go. What was everybody feeling after that touchdown by UCM to put them up by 3 points with 34 seconds to go? We'll start with Isaiah. What were you thinking during that time before the last drive for Northwest?
My first thought that it was over. I was starting to think, okay, I've got to write my first Northwest defeat story, and I really didn't know what to do. I was a little confused, but at the same time, I was like, reality set in. You know, I can't pout on it. I've got to do my journalistic job, and I've got to report on what's going on. So I just started replaying that touchdown in my head over and over, and that's what I was feeling. It wasn't really much of a disappointment, more of a crap. I've got to start thinking of what I'm going to have to write about.
Max, what about you? What were you thinking? You were on the sideline for that, weren't you? So you were kind of feeling all the emotions down there.
I knew the Cats were going to pull it out. 34 seconds left in college football with one timeout, two timeouts, one timeout, plus the guy gets injured, but I didn't know that at the time, obviously. I knew the Cats were winning. Growing up, being in that program, how many times we run 2-minute, 3-minute, 30-second drill, I knew the Cats are winning.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that there are 5 guys that sit in this room, and I feel like the only one that, it wasn't that I didn't have faith, it was that for me, it didn't feel like they were going to come back, but here I stand and there are 4 guys in the room that say, oh, yeah, it makes sense with only 34 seconds left. And I don't know, I just feel like that's hard to believe. And I think what Max Moore said is it's definitely the culture. It's definitely part of what Northwest has had and what they've done over the years. But I think it's unbelievable how much confidence there is in the small town of Maryville that says, yeah, with 34 seconds left, we're not going to lose. And we've got an entire field to drive down.
It wasn't a great game offensively, for sure. They were pretty quiet there for almost 3 quarters from the touchdown in the beginning of the second quarter from Martin to Grove until that last touchdown. The offense didn't do a whole lot there. Just different things in the game, whether it was penalties, drop passes, just little miscommunications with routes, slight overthrows. I mean, neither quarterback was really sharp. I mean, Martin was 17 for 39 for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Brooke Bowles for UCM was 17 for 43, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks, and he was sacked 6 times. So he was under pressure all game. Northwest, the defense, was on the field a lot more this past game than they've been all year, and they still answered the bell. And Isaiah, just that defense is still the best in the nation.
Oh, it is. And there's no question about it. I mean, they're just absolutely nasty is what they are. And they continue to do nasty things. When I say that, I mean, you've got guys like Anthony Lane who continues to show up every game. He's one of the biggest factors, I think, on this defense, and I've said it since the first big touchdown of the year that he had on that block, that field goal block. This guy is something special for this team. Not only that, every position, from the D linemen to the middle linebackers to the corners to the safeties. I mean, there's something special about this defense, and they're not letting teams score very much. They're not letting them get very many first downs. I mean, allowing 12 of 68 on third down conversions. That's 17% on third down, and that's such a big statistic because it gives Northwest's offense plenty of opportunities to score, and it is the defense. It's been the defense so far this year. It has been amazing.
Of course, I want to remind everybody you're listening to the Weekend Sports Kickoff here on 106.7 LP Maryville, as well as KNWT Channel 8 and KNWT Channel 8's Facebook Live. I know we've all pretty much shared the link. If you have any questions that you want us to answer, definitely comment on there, and we'll get to those questions as soon as we can. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the game coming on this Saturday. We went pretty long with a big game last week. We'll come back and talk about the game versus Central Oklahoma starting tomorrow at 1:30 here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff. Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I am Devin Albertson, joined by Sean Nino, Ryan Elliott, Bearcat Update host, and one of our analysts, Max Moore, and Northwest Missourian sports editor, Isaiah Swan. Isaiah, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic. I love the way we started the show. Like I was completely confused. Everyone was smiling on the other end. I was having fun.
Before we move on, we're going to have a quick soundbite here. And we just talked about offensive line in the last segment, so we got to bring in offensive lineman Landon Kubicek for this soundbite.
They're definitely similar in some ways. Like they're both like really good tacticians when it comes to it. Like they both definitely know offensive line play like amazingly. But they're two totally different coaching styles. I mean, this year it was like the first year like we've had like a true position coach, so he just focuses on us. Where last year was just AD, but he had to worry about the whole team. So it's like I wouldn't say it's a lot different because as an offensive line we can go up there and we just have like a personal coach. It's not just like the head coach. So. I mean, it's nice.
Isaiah, I'll let you go on here. Offensive line play. So what were you thinking going off from this?
Well, I'll need some help because I didn't know we'd have Max Moore here today, and that helps me out a lot because former offensive lineman for the Bearcats. That helps me.
Shucks.
That's been my big question mark this year. Because Zach Martin, 17 of 39. That's pretty inaccurate. Not the offensive line's fault. Not at all. You have to wait a second because I'm getting to my point here. So journey with me for a second. He was under pressure a lot at Arrowhead. He was under pressure a lot. He made a lot of quick decisions. The running game wasn't as consistent again, and it's just been my major question mark through the first 5 games is like, can this offensive line keep improving? And so I just need to know, what's it like, Max? This is for you, and then we'll get to my point. Max, what's it like getting? You probably didn't have this happen, but a completely different coach. You see them for an entire year, and you're getting a brand new guy. What does that do to you? What does that do to your mental state?
Well, I know the big thing for Northwest, and I talked to a lot of the coaches and players, was they wanted to make sure that he was familiar with Northwest system and the way they do things in offensive line play before he would, try and insert whatever he wanted to teach. So they have Northwest scheme, if you will. It's different because when I went from junior college to Northwest, it was a lot different in the sense that there's just different verbiage. Where Coach Doro could be saying one thing and Coach Cunningham could be saying the exact same thing, just in a different way. And that's what a lot of players struggle with new coaches in general, new schemes. It's just different verbiage. And so the plays are very similar because we ran the same offense in junior college, just zone, stretch, power, counter, all that. We ran those same plays. It's just it has different verbiage. So I think that's probably the toughest thing. And then, I'll let you finish what you have to say, and then I'll go forward.
Yeah, because, and this is what I wanted to get to. I think you explained it really well, Max. Thank you. It's different. There's something different whenever you've had a guy in there for a few years. And this is something they're getting used to. It's brand new to them. they bring in a guy, and it's an outside hire. It's different to this program. This isn't a guy that's been hanging around 14 years, because everyone's big question this year was, can Rich Wright sustain what Northwest has been doing? And it was pretty easy to answer yes, because he's been here. He knows what's going on. This is a guy not from around here. This is a guy using different words, as you said, and I just can't help but think that has to be, once again, not that it's a problem, not that this is bad, but that something is different about this offensive line. It's different. They're hearing different maybe not different plays, but there's different language being said, and it's somewhat foreign to them, and that's what we've seen. That's what I've seen, at least, the first 5 games.
Well, I would say that probably has a good part to do with it. And another thing to think about is they only had, let's see, 2 returning starting offensive linemen in Zach Flott and Ryan Huff, who both have played quite a bit over the past few years. Starting center Chase Thomas, he's sat behind Chase Sherman, who started for 3 years, and so Chase only got minimal garbage time, if that. The right guard between Trey and now Landon and Tanner Owen, who transferred from Mizzou, hadn't started a game in his life until this year. So they have, plus he got off of like a car accident, I believe is what it was, and so he recovered from that. So at the left tackle spot, you have a brand new guy, and then that's because Kubicek was hurt early in the year. And then you have the same left guard, a new center, pretty much a new right guard, and then your same right tackle. So there's 3 out of the 2 that are relatively new. And then to build off that, it's hard to gel between an offensive line, because even during my time, when I went from maybe playing with the 3s to maybe playing with the 2s, and then going from the 2s to maybe even playing with the 1s, it's just, you have to, it's weird because you don't think about it this way, but standing next to Chase Thomas for a series, and then the right guard goes down and say, Max, we need you to go in at right guard spot number 1 for practice, and then you go, okay. And then Chase Sherman was so much different in the way he did things. He's shorter, a little bit shorter, just moves differently, and he's more advanced in his technique, so it's just a whole lot different. And so when you have all those rotating parts and new players, it can be difficult, and it's hard to gel at times. So I think that's probably the biggest issue, is just trying to gel.
And that's what I wanted to say. That you've made my point perfectly clear. Like, at the beginning of the year, everyone at Northwest has said there's nothing that's changed. All the players are like, it's the same. Nothing is that different, because it's the same culture. I believe that hasn't changed. They're still winning. Honestly, we need to start talking about this game, because it's one of only 2 games in my mind that stand between them and setting one of the greatest records in all of D2. And there's something different. And so for the first time, I think we can find, I just want to make it clear and abundantly clear to everyone that there's something different, in that it's hard for them to adjust. They're human beings. Like, this is not something that is easy, and they're just adjusting. And so I think as you guys have pointed out, Ryan and Max, like, they're just trying to gel. They're trying to get used to things, and it's not going to be just, this is a coach, the offensive line coach that came in over the spring. Usually coaches are already there. It felt a little weird him coming in a little late, and now I think they're fine. I think they've made massive improvements, great improvements over the past 2 or 3 weeks here, and I'm excited. I'm ready for them to start moving up. I believe that Landon, in our press conference this week, said that he would grade them about a B. If we had to grade them on a grading scale, a B, and I would 100% agree with that. I would say that's about where they are.
Of course, tomorrow the game, 1:30 kickoff between Northwest and Central Oklahoma. We'll have our pregame show with Max, Sean, and then Evan Brown at 12:30.
Trevor.
Evan's not gonna be there.
That's right.
Come on.
Well, I didn't want Trevor to be on there. Sorry.
I mean, Trevor's not here, but he can't defend it like a false statement.
All right, so sorry. Trevor Mater, Sean Neal, and Max will be on the pre-show at 12:30. Ryan Elliott and I will be on at 1:15. And we might bring Isaiah on as well to give his little tidbit before the broadcast starts as well. So
He might be chatting with David Boyce a little too much to come hang out with us.
all right,
I'll bring stealing cookies and eating pizza, talking with David Boyce while we're just lonely in the corner of the press box.
I'll come visit you guys.
All right, so we'll see Isaiah tomorrow afternoon, about a little after 1 probably. We'll bring him on for the pregame show, X106. When we come back, we'll talk some college football here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff on X106, KNWT, and Facebook Live through KNWT Channel 8. welcome back into the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I am Devin Albertson, joined by Sean Nino, Ryan Elliott, and Bearcat Update host and one of our analysts, Max Moore. And of course, tomorrow is Northwest Football Military Appreciation Day. They're at Bearcat Stadium versus Central Oklahoma, as the Northwest taking on the Broncos. In that game, 1:30 kickoff, so we'll have 12:30 with our pregame show with Max Moore, Sean Nino, and Trevor Mater. And then, of course, myself and Ryan going on at 1:15 with most likely Northwest Missouri United Sports Director Isaiah Swan coming on with us. He was also here with us earlier on the show, so I want to thank him for coming on and joining us. As now we're getting to our NFL pick'ems for this week, and of course, overall on the year on the pick'ems. Last week, Joseph went 3-2, Trevor and myself went 2-3, and Sean and Ryan both went 1-4. Overall, Joe and Ryan are 13-7. I am 12-8, and then Trevor and Sean are 11-9.
Okay, so Ryan, as we talked about last time, that he wanted to know where the chop was from, and then he let it go. We are weeks into the season. Let it go, Devin.
I might keep playing this year, just so I'm a game behind Joe and Ryan, and I lost my 2-game lead, which I'm sad about. I'm undefeated on the year still. I'm still 8 games back Max, so that's what we're going to fight over second place right now.
Basically, you're not first, you're last.
Ricky Bobby. All right. Up next, we got the NFL pick'ems. The Panthers at the Lions, noon on Fox. Detroit Lions are 2.5 favorites at home. We'll start with Max, the undefeated champ. He had this on the Panthers and Lions. Well, Joe's taking Lions just for you.
Joe's taking the Lions. I do like the Lions. I'm going to go with the Lions. Just keep things simple. I think Cam might have a little bit of a tough game because he can't have women running around apparently.
And Ryan?
I was like, surround. I like the Lions. I think the Lions have looked a little better. Their offense looks pretty good. I think Matt Stafford had a pretty good game, and I agree with Max that I don't think Cam comes out and plays very well. So give me the Lions.
Sean?
So let's give the picks up. The only person taking the Panthers. This is either going to be a really good pick, or I'm going to be really sad come 3 o'clock on Sunday. I think the Panthers had a good game last Sunday, the Patriots, and I don't think that was a coming out party for Cam because the Patriots defense is atrocious to say the least. But I think the Panthers defense, or the Lions defense isn't great. The Panthers defense is very good, and I think it'll come down to seeing how good each of these offenses can play. I don't think this is going to be a very high-scoring game, but I think it's going to be a late score too.
All right, so that's what you have for them. I don't think it's going to be really that close. I think the Panthers, I think KNWT receivers were wide open last week. The Patriots lost coverage New England. That's not going to happen this week with Detroit. Detroit's defense has improved compared to years past. And I think the Patriots, the Lions are going to win here against the Panthers in Detroit. Panthers back-to-back games be tough for them. So I think the Lions win the points. Next game, Jaguars at Steelers, noon on CBS. Steelers are an 8-point home favorite. We'll go with Sean for this game, Sean.
I mean,
sorry. I'm just going to cut you off. Totally forgot about Cam Newton. That was not a good comment. I think he meant it as a joke, and it came off really bad. I think it looked really bad. He's really dumb for saying it. Like it's really bad. I don't think he's personally sexist. I think that comment was really sexist, and he just needs to don't make a joke at press conference. You don't know how to go over. That was really bad joke.
Yeah. Really bad.
So just what I wanted to say my two thoughts on that one real quick. That I don't think Cam Newton is really a bad guy. I think he just made a dumb comment that just went really poorly.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify what I want on that one. So Sean, this game now, Jaguars Steelers.
Well, you know, Blake Bortles, man, he's such a good quarterback. You know, I mean, can you name like three quarterbacks better than him?
Chad Henne.
Okay, good. I'm not taking the Jaguars. They are. I mean, they should just move to London right now because that's the only place that they play well. Now, the Steelers, I didn't pick them last week, and they proved me wrong because I went with the Ravens. I may make that mistake later on in these picks. We'll find out. But I'm going to take the Steelers at home because they play better when they're at home, and I really don't want the Jaguars to win this game. I'm going to make something, and it's not just my words.
All right, fair enough. How about you, Ryan?
Interesting.
Steelers, Heinz Field,
kind of curious.
Max. Will the Jaguars improve to 3-2?
You can
I want to do it.
I really want to do it. This is.
Hey, you guys have one pick of the week.
Oh, Trevor just texted me. He is going to take Saxonville. Trevor's taking Saxonville. I'm going to go Steelers playing at home. But Trevor is taking Jacksonville. Here on this one. He texted me. Wanted me to change that pick.
It's Trevor's pick of the week.
All right. He said Saxonville gets at least 5 sacks, and Ben Roethlisberger exits the game in the third quarter.
It's a good text message there.
Very interesting.
Well, I think the Steelers win this game at home. I think they cover really well at home. 8 points should be enough for the Steelers to cover. They win by 10 or more. So the Steelers at home cover. They play a lot better at home than they do. Compared to the regular, they played decent last week at Baltimore. The Ravens playing poorly though. Next game, 3:05 on Fox. The Seahawks at the Rams. NFC West showdown. Seahawks 2-2. Rams 3-1. This game out in LA. The Coliseum. Rams are a point-and-a-half favorite. Max, who you got in this game between the Rams and Seahawks?
Rams. I think the Rams are the real deal. I said they're going to get the wild card, but I think they might win the NFC West. I think they're a very legitimate shot. The defense is playing really well. Long is getting in and getting some good time. And that offense is explosive.
It's coming.
Yeah. They just got to get rid of those gold trim in their uniforms.
Either bring back the golden.
You have to wait 2 years before you can actually get a uniform change.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's the NFL.
They're also wearing the gold this week with the old throwback jerseys.
I
like the classic look. The Rams are regular look.
All white and blue.
I like the
Andy Reid punt kick. That's a good uniform to wear. That is a good thing to wear.
So that's what they have. How about you, Ryan?
They already are in the NFC West. I think the Seahawks offensive line continues to struggle, and the Rams defense takes advantage of that. I've got the Rams.
And John?
This was kind of hard. Honestly, I think the Rams are going to win this game, but I'm still not sure they're going to win the division just because Seattle plays so well at home. And I'm not 100% bought into the Rams. I don't know why I just can't latch on to the fact that maybe they've been the Rams. I can't buy into them in their almost junior high offense from last year now to, oh, wow, this is a pro offense you got there. So I'm going to go with the Rams, but I think it's either Seattle winning a close game or the Rams blow out the Seahawks.
All right. So I'll say the Rams. Joe's taking the Rams as well as the Steelers in the last game. And this one, I think, into the point and a half. It's pretty obvious that they should cover as well as the win. So that game, next game, also in the afternoon, 3:05. The Ravens at the Raiders, two teams that are kind of struggling a bit last couple weeks. Both teams at 2-2, starting out 2-0 in the year. Raiders are a 3-point home favorite now. Derek Carr is out. DJ Manuel starting for the Raiders. We'll leave first, Sean. What do you have in this game?
So Derek Carr is actually questionable for this week.
Is he really?
He's out. He's out like 6 weeks, isn't he? He's out 6 weeks, but this is injury from what they said. I haven't had this injury by any means. But it's how much he can play through pain and not like how fast it's going to heal. Because if he can play through pain, he could play this week. Now, do I think he's going to play? No. But I'm also not going to take the Ravens. I made that mistake. Not going to do it again. Going to pick the Raiders.
How about you, Ryan?
I've got the Raiders too. DJ Manuel let us back last week after went out. But the Ravens haven't impressed me. So I'm going with the Raiders.
And Max.
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
All right, so you think the Ravens?
Yes, I'm taking the Ravens. Got it. You never read.
I've read the Raven. I'm familiar with Edgar Allan Poe, but I didn't know whether you meant the Ravens or the Raiders.
The Simpsons actually made a nice remake of that, and their first. Second Treehouse of Four. One of the first Treehouse of Four. Watch it. It's good.
All right. Joseph's taking Baltimore. So there's I am taking the Ravens as well on the road. The Raiders struggled this week. The Ravens are bound to play well this week. Something they're going to play this week. You get back to some point. They're that weird team that finishes 8 or 9 7 Raiders have great games. They have like really good teams, but then the other side of it is they play really good guys. It's like what team do you want to be? Yeah.
You want to be good or you want to be average? There's be average. Good or bad, John?
I do just drive the average.
We'll split the difference there. So that's it for myself and the Weekend Sports Kickoff. You guys still have 30 more minutes for the show, so make sure you guys still tune in with these guys. They bring it home here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff on KZLX and KNWT Channel 8, also on Facebook Live. I'll see you guys next week, and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon.